Sai Ram, praying to Swami, and we shall begin with our opening prayers. Oh, 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 Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om. Offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our all-merciful Swami, who is with us in every moment that we exist in this world. And without him, I'm not sure how blessed or how fortunate we are to have him, or rather have him get us onto his fold, such that we are here every weekend trying to contemplate through his gems who have been molded by him, the students of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. And today we have yet another gem amidst us who has got a very interesting journey, starting with as a sixth grader in the year 1988 at Bhagawan school in Ooty, following which he moved on to the school at Prashanti Nilayam. Went on to do his Bachelors in Biosciences from the Brindavan campus, receiving a gold medal in that process from the Divine Hands, and then did his Masters in Biosciences from the Prashanti Nilayam campus with a perfect GPA score of 5 points. And one of his most cherished moments was to get a ring from Swami for having topped his examination at the end of the summer course in 2000. He was further blessed by Bhagawan to be chosen to pursue a master's in healthcare administration, which he did in the state of California, in the United States. And since then, he has been a servant in the mission of Swami through the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, Whitefield, where he has been serving, doing his part of giving back to the Lord. And he currently serves as a special assistant to the director of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, Whitefield. The gem that I'm speaking about is Brother Praveen Vemula, and we are absolutely blessed. We are absolutely blessed to have Brother Praveen with us today. And as always, I'm looking forward to seeing what Swami has in store for us through our brother this evening in the Satsangh that progresses from now on. With over to you, Brother Praveen. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. I would like to start my talk with a song which Bhagawan had composed, which illustrates that what actually happens in the world is due to his compassion. Dayacheta dhanyulu kavalera yantati vadaina dayacheta dhanyulu kavalera Asurudaina bhusurudaina akhanda telivi galavadaina dayacheta dhanyulu kavalera yantati vadaina dayacheta dhanyulu kavalera Vidya నేర్చివాదాదిన గాని పద్యములెన్నో పాడిన గాని విద్య నేర్చి వాదాదిన గాని పథ్యములెన్నో పాడిన గాని కొండ గుహలలో నుండిన గాని కూర్చుని జపములు చేసిన గాని దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. ఎంతటి వాడైన దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. యోగాభ్యాసము చేసిన గాని భాగవతాదులు చూసిన గాని యోగాభ్యాసము చేసిన గాని భాగవతాదులు చూసిన గాని బాగుగా గడ్డము పెంచిన గాని పట్టెనామములు పెట్టిన గాని దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. ఎంతటి వాడైన దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. ముక్కు మూసి జపమాచరించిన మృక్కుచు బాగా నిలచియుండిన ముక్కు మూసి జపమాచరించిన మృక్కుచు బాగా నిలచియుండిన మ్రొక్కి మ్రొక్కి ఎంత ఏడ్చిన గాని దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. ఎంతటి వాడైన దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. కాషాయ వస్త్రము వేసిన గాని కంఠమాల ధరించిన గాని కాషాయ వస్త్రము వేసిన గాని కంఠమాల ధరించిన గాని గడగడ గడమణి మాల త్రిప్పిన కడకుని వద్దకు రావలి స్వామి దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. ఎంతటి వాడైన దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. భక్తితో మిమ్ము కొలచిన గాని పుట్టపర్తికే వచ్చిన గాని భక్తితో మిమ్ము కొలచిన గాని పుట్టపర్తికే వచ్చిన గాని పూజలు బాగా చేసిన గాని పుడమయంతయు తిరిగిన గాని దయచేత నీ దయచేత సాయి దయచేత స్వామి దయచేత ధన్యులు కావలరా. This song, which was composed by Bhagawan himself, is one of my favorite songs because it explains to us that what we are is not because of anything that we have done or we have achieved, but it is due to his compassion. We have such a wonderful, compassionate Lord who has not only taught us how to lead our life, but he himself has composed prayers for us to learn and sing. So this actually shows the heights of his compassion. There is probably no other God, no other incarnation or avatar has gone to such a level, has come down to such a level to uplift us. And Bhagavan has shown us the entire spectrum. He has come to the lowest of the lowest intellectual levels to teach us highest of the highest truth. And we are extremely fortunate that we were allowed to be present. We were allowed to be born during his incarnation. And even more fortunate that he allowed us to know that he was born, and he had allowed us to come close to him and enjoy his mercy and his love and his compassion. To think of it, there are close to more than 9 billion people on this planet when Bhagavan was in the earthly sojourn, but very few could actually recognize and have his darshan, and we are extremely fortunate that he allowed us to have his darshan and also gave me the greatest good fortune of being near him and the even more greater good fortune of working for him. In this talk, I would like to take you across my life's journey with Bhagawan, which shows how he has painstakingly taught that he is Bhagawan and kindled that faith in us that in spite of whatever odds that life may throw at us, he is there and he will take care. So my talk, there are two parts. One is during my student days, and if I get another opportunity, I will probably talk about the experiences that I have had while working for Bhagwan. That will be on another day, not today. So let us begin this journey. The story of Lord, Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, or Sai Bhagavatam. It's such a tremendous thing that even if you keep listening to it or talking about it multiple times, you don't get bored. And each time you talk or you hear, you get deeper insights into the Sai Bhagavatam. So let me take you back to when I was in my 6th class. Generally, we don't get opportunities to enter into Bhagwan's institution in the middle, either it is the first class or 11th class or the college. When I was very young, one of our neighbors, his kids were studying in Bhagwan's institution, and we were not devotees at the time. And my parents were very impressed by the way those kids were behaving while we were so naughty. So they wanted to put us in Bhagwan's institution. And in that process, they became devotees of Bhagwan. Bhagwan says that he uses education or health or service as a tool to bring us close to him and to make us want him. So like Mother Yashoda used to offer butter to Lord Krishna so that he comes close to her and then catch him. So similarly, Bhagavan uses these tools to draw us close to him and to give us that joy of proximity or of the devotion. So our journey started way back in 1980s when some of the devotees in our place, they approached my grandfather, who was a contractor building a school next to our house. And they said that we would like to have Swami's Mandir in our hometown, Kottagudam. And since he was a contractor, they wanted his help in building the Mandir. Though he was not a devotee, but he had that spiritual inkling, that faith in God. So he said, let's do. I don't know who Sai Baba is, but since it is, they say that he is God, let me participate in this. So he helped in construction of the Mandir, which came out very beautifully. And to inaugurate that Mandir, all of the devotees in our hometown, they approached Bhagavan and he also joined them. So Bhagawan called them inside the interview room and then just blessed all of them and created a laddu for my grandfather. That was the first ever introduction of Swami to us. Subsequently, out of curiosity, my grandmother also went along with the devotees. She was totally illiterate, and fortunately for her, she lost her way in Prashanti Nilayam. And in the darshan line, the line which she was sitting, that went first, and she was right in the front. Bhagawan came and called few devotees for the interview, and she was not aware of what is happening. She thought people have to get up and go. So she also followed along with them to the interview room. And at the door of interview room, Bhagawan asked her, "Who called you?" Then she said, "I don't know, Swami." Then Bhagawan laughed and asked her to go inside. And during the course of the interview, Baba Swami asked her, "What do you want?" And her only answer was, "Swami, please take care of my family and my son." She had a son who was mentally retarded, probably in the age of 25, and she was worried. And Swami said, "You don't worry, I'll take care of your family and also your son." So I think it was that boon that Bhagwan gave that brought all of us to closer to him. So those days, as I told you, there were no admissions to in the middle. But fortunately, that year, in the Ooty school of Bhagwan, they said that there is a possibility to get into the 6th class. I had already completed my 6th class, but my parents felt that doesn't matter if even if you lose 1 year, but we want to join you. So I wrote the entrance exam, and prior to joining Bhagwan's institution, my academic track record was very poor, but God's grace, the previous year I had joined in one of Swami's devotees school, and I think that changed my entire academic track record. That suddenly, from being absolutely zero in academics to one of the top classes of the top, and then subsequently I got a seat in Bhagwan's school along with my 2 younger brothers. And that year, Bhagwan did not visit Ooty school, but we had an opportunity to visit Prashanti Nilayam during our winter vacation. We had taken a small bus and we reached Prashanti Nilayam. It was already in the morning, almost 8 o'clock. So without taking breakfast, we rushed. That was the first time we were actually entering the veranda. And because we were small children and coming for the first time, we were asked to sit in the front. And as soon as we went and sat in the front, there were only, I think, 7 or 8 of us, small children. Immediately, as soon as we sat, the interview room door opened and Bhagwan came straight to us. My brother and I, we were sitting in the front, and came and created vibhuti for both of us. Then asked us, "Did you eat breakfast? And we said, no, Swami. Then he got bananas from interview room and gave it to us. That was very touching incident, in the sense that this is the first time we were seeing Swami, and Swami didn't even wait for a second. It was instantaneous. We sat and Bhagawan came, and Bhagawan spoke to us as if he knew us from several births, though we were meeting Bhagawan physically for the first time. Subsequently, Bhagawan closed the Ooty school and shifted all of us to primary school in Puttaparthi. And darshans for primary school kids were absolutely special. We used to come on Thursdays and Sundays, and Bhagawan used to give the entire attention on those 2 days to the primary school students. We got several opportunities to interact with Bhagawan, the school as such, but I was sort of ignored. Bhagawan used to call many times for prasadam distribution. He used to pick up students, and most of the time, all the times I was missed out. My brother got a lot of opportunities to speak to Bhagawan and also to serve prasadam. I was a little disappointed, but one day, finally the call came. Bhagawan called me first and told me to go inside, and then Bhagawan came behind me along with some other primary school brothers. And first time I was entering Bhagawan's interview room, and then he told, go inside. So from interview room to the dining hall of Bhagawan, there's a small, very narrow passage. And Bhagawan told me to go in the front. So I was going in the front and being overawed by the situation. I was not looking anywhere. I was just looking straight and going. There was some Dettol liquid which was spilled on the floor. Generally, it doesn't happen in Bhagawan's room. The people who take care of it, they keep it spick and span, and I don't know, it must be Bhagawan who has actually put that liquid to teach a lesson to me. And as I was going, I slipped on that Dettol liquid and fell backward. And Bhagawan actually caught me in the fall and then lifted me and then dusted my back, asking, am I okay? Though it looked very trivial at that point, it actually was very symbolic, in the sense that I was falling into the world of Maya, and Bhagawan carried me and took him to himself and removed that Maya. The remaining, Swami asked me to stand aside, and then other boys did the prasadam distribution. I was just standing and watching. After my 7th class, in the summer vacation, Bhagawan had gone to Kodaikanal, and I had gone home. Our neighbors and my parents, they felt that we should go and have Bhagawan's darshan in Kodaikanal. So we took a train and reached Coimbatore, and from there we took a matador, and we were going to Kodaikanal. Midway, near Silver Cascade, we saw Bhagawan's car going on the road, and we told the matador driver to follow the car, and the driver was following the car, and at one point we overtook the car, and then we were standing on the side to have darshan of Bhagawan. And then Radhakrishna sir, who was there in the car, said that, Swami is in the bus. So we thought, oh, we have to go back. And before we could do anything, the bus came and it stood parallel, it stood across the road as if to turn back. And then Bhagawan opened his window and removed the curtain and then called, primary school boys, come, come. And we ran, and Bhagawan gave us bourbon biscuits, the packet for each of us, and inquired that when we came and all that. And later, some of our brothers who were in the Kodai batch, they told that as soon as our matador crossed the bus following Swami's car, Bhagwan asked the driver of the bus to follow the matador. So when we followed the car thinking Swami is in the car, Bhagwan followed us. And apparently Bhagwan said that my primary school boys are there in that matador, so go and so let us go behind that. So we were wanting to go behind Swami, and Swami came behind us, and it was such a beautiful experience that Bhagwan, that beautiful smile of Bhagwan welcoming us as we were entering Kodaikanal, and also the very tasty bourbon biscuits. I still love bourbon biscuits because whenever I see that packet and whenever I eat, I remember that incident. And in the darshan also, a couple of times we had a beautiful interaction with Swami. I have a small video of that. I'll just show you.
Brother, the video has not come on. You're still on that previous page. You click on the video and then share. We are still on your Explorer page. So.
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
I'm still not seeing the screen. It's blanking the screen.
Can you see now?
No, it's still, you play it now, it's still hidden. The video is like.
Yeah, that was me. Bhagavan was patting my cheek in Kodaikanal. So subsequent to that, we joined in the higher secondary school, and from then on, our names became primary school boys. 4 of us, our neighbors' children, 2 of them, and me and my brother. So whenever Swami used to ask for us, look for us, he used to say, where are the primary school boys? And since several children studied from primary school, many used to get up, and in one instance, almost 30 boys had come forward, and then finally Swami spotted us somewhere behind and said, you come. So our names became primary school boys, though we were in higher secondary school, and that continued till almost I finished my post-graduation. So just to show how just to give us beautiful experiences, Bhagavan makes us do even small things, trivial things. Like it was the Akhanda Bhajan day, and at the end of Akhanda Bhajan, generally Swami gives a very sumptuous prasadam meal of consisting of chakkar pongali and puliogare. And so elder brothers, they were bringing those vessels and putting from the South Indian canteen, they were putting in the veranda. Then suddenly Swami called, where are those primary school boys? And then picked up my brother and myself and told us to sit near the prasadam. He said, this crows and monkeys may come and take the prasadam. So you stand guard, you sit guard. And every few seconds he used to come and talk to us and ask, did any monkey or a crow come? It was, the hall was filled with devotees and bhajans were going on. And in that atmosphere, I don't think any crow or a monkey can come and touch the prasadam. But just to give an experience of talking, of us being near him and talking to him, Bhagavan created this incident and spoke to us several times. Every 5 seconds he used to ask us about those things. But looking back, it looks very symbolic. Monkeys and crows, they seem like our thoughts. Like Bhagavan wants us to keep watch on our thoughts, so that monkey, Bhagavan refers to our mind, that mind is a mad monkey. And then crows, they represent tamasic tendencies. Monkey may be a rajasic tendency where it wants to keep on doing something without achieving anything in actual. So maybe the rajasic and the tamasic qualities Bhagavan wants us to watch, keep a watch, so that they don't eat the prasadam. That the prasadam is our heart that we offer to Bhagavan, and so Bhagavan doesn't want the crows and monkeys, the rajasic and the tamasic tendencies to dirty our mind, our heart, which is meant to be offered to Bhagavan. That was a very beautiful lesson, giving us a very sweet experience in that entire process. Then at every stage, Bhagavan guided in my academic career, in the sense that from 10th class to 11th, we need to choose a group that we want to take. Either we want to pursue our education in the commerce line or the science background. Like we have option of BiPC, that is bioscience, chemistry, physics, or MPC, maths, physics, chemistry, or CAE or MAE. There are different commerce options also. So when I asked Bhagavan, what should I do next? Bhagavan said, do BiPC. At this point, I would like to say a significant thing that I have observed is that whichever subject was my strength, till 10th class, maths was like a breeze for me. Like without much effort, I could understand the maths problems and get very good marks in maths. So at that point, Bhagavan removed what I thought was my strength, the math. That subject was removed from my academic track. And then I got into bioscience, and subsequently that took me to Brindavan. Had several experiences in the process. Like I remember one very cute, funny incident that for some reason I had loose motions and probably went to the loo close to 50 times and I was very worried. So I went to Bhagawan in Darshan. I was a small boy and I said, Swami, uh, I'm having this problem. I went to bathroom 50 times. Bhagawan laughed and said, very good, your stomach will reduce. Then Bhagavan, out of compassion, created vibhuti and put in my mouth. And he said, don't worry, everything will be all right. So that sort of, though it looked very trivial medical condition, but that love that Bhagavan showed at that moment, making that incident a small thing and giving a vibhuti directly feeding me in my mouth, and immediately the loose motion stopped, showing a small child that his power, that if he wills, nothing can torment us. Though the loose motion was tormenting me till that time, as soon as he came in, that immediately stopped and I became completely fine. So there came another point where I need to take a decision, that is at the end of second year to third year of BSc Bioscience honors. I mean, I need to make a choice between bioscience or chemistry, BPC or chemistry and or physics. At that point, I was very good in chemistry and physics. Then Bhagwan said, you do bioscience. So my second strength that I thought was my strength, that Bhagwan removed, and I pursued my BSc Bioscience honors in major in the third year. And as with Bhagwan's blessings, I secured a gold medal in my bioscience final year. I think the credit for that goes to Bhagwan and not me, because as I submitted earlier, before coming into Bhagwan's fold, my marks were very meager. Trying to see if that photo is there. One second, I'm just sharing. Yeah, this is one of the photos of Bhagwan conferring the gold medal on me. I think the gold medal, the effort for the gold medal was put by him and the gold medal was given by him. Subsequently, I joined my sorry, in the from the third year to BSc. Next, I need to decide on my post graduation. So in one of the darshans, I knelt down and asked Bhagwan, Swami, what should I do next? And generally, you had an option either to continue MSc, or there was also an option that they allowed bioscience students also to pursue MBA. So when I asked Bhagwan said, management chahi. That means do management. So obviously the choice was MBA as per Bhagwan. So I immediately started preparing for that. Since maths was left behind in 10th class, and that formed a very important part of the entrance exam for MBA, I had to relearn all the concepts in maths, and then we had something called CAT exams in India. So I purchased some of those books to prepare for the MBA entrance exam. Studied pretty hard, and then that year, summer generally, Bhagwan goes to Kodaikanal, and that year Swami didn't go immediately. So I thought probably I need to concentrate uh, on the MBA entrance, and then I went home, though Bhagwan was still in Parthi. And that year, unfortunately for me, most of my classmates Bhagwan chose to and took them to Kodaikanal. So I felt very bad that I got missed out. I could have probably got a chance to be with Bhagwan in Kodaikanal, but I felt that it was Bhagwan's wish that I studied for MBA. So I continued studying in my hometown. And whenever I used to get bored, I used to listen to Bhagwan's discourses. So the holidays got over, Bhagwan came back, and then there was the MBA entrance exam was there. And I attended the entrance exam and then went up to the interview stage. And then our Vice Chancellor at that point was S.V. Giri sir, late S.V. Giri sir. What tributes to him, he just passed away a couple of days back. He merged into Bhagwan's lotus feet. So S.V. Giri sir said, see, you got gold medal in bioscience. Now we want to jump to MBA. We want, in the institute, we want to strengthen the science stream, and we want to introduce research activities in the science stream. So you should continue and do your MSc and do your PhD. I tried to explain to the interview panel that it is Bhagwan's wish that I join management stream, but they didn't listen. So evening in the darshan, I went to Bhagwan and said, Swami, they didn't give me MBA. Please give MBA to me. Then Bhagwan said, oh, do MSc, MSc chahi, MSc Bioscience chahi. He told and went off. So I was really furious and helpless because of that word of Bhagwan, I had to miss out on Kodaikanal trip. And then now Bhagwan is fully saying that you continue with MSc Bioscience, but we can't do anything. So I've continued in MSc Bioscience. For whatever Swami does, at that point, it may look very contradictory, but only in the hindsight do we actually realize why Swami says at what venture. Probably he could have just told after my MSc to do MBA, but he said after my BSc. So anyway, I've continued, and also I would like to say that whatever effort you put sincerely never goes waste. So that as the talk progresses, you will understand that. So in 2000, Bhagwan held the summer course for the first time after almost gap of 10 years. And I had the opportunity to participate in the summer course. That was my first ever summer course. And it was very, very, very special one. So then I participated in the summer course. The entire experience was very wonderful. The food Bhagwan gives us is a perfect host. He fed us like a mother, and we were very, very happy. At the end, there was a exam that was conducted. Exams are always a source of tension. So I was concentrating only on Bhagwan, not much on the other speeches that were there. So I was very scared about going into the exam. And as soon as I saw the paper, all the questions that were there in the paper were from Bhagwan's discourses. And that effort I put into listening to Bhagwan's discourses during the summer holidays the previous year in the process of my studying for MBA helped me, and I could answer all the questions, but I never expected that I will top the exam. So that day, the final benedictory message was to be given by Bhagwan, and I got a message from warden that I should sit in the front. I went and sat in the front. Bhagwan came into the Sai Ramesh hall, and he looked at me and gave a beautiful smile. I didn't understand the reason behind that smile. I'll share a short video of that particular incident. Can you see?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Marks were all in the high 90s, 95 and above. In spite of the toughness of the test, there are 2 students who have got 100 out of 100. One is from the Prashanti Nilayam campus, Mr. B. Praveen of the second year MS.
Yeah, so you have seen in the video, Bhagwan was very happy, and whenever I see this video, I feel very, very blessed that he studied through me and got 100 out of 100 and then gave a gift to me. So that post summer course, from primary school boy, I graduated to summer course ring boy. From then on, Bhagwan used to, whenever he was looking for me, used to call me as primary summer course ring boy. And that year, actually, later in one of the interviews, Bhagwan mentioned to the elders that till Bhagwan gave this ring to me as part of summer course, I was very introvert and shy person. Subsequent to that, I started coming out and talking, and that's absolutely true. The final year of my MSc Bioscience was one of the most magical years of my life. Bhagwan gave several opportunities to be close to him and to serve him by in form of prasadam distribution. And Bhagwan also gave a couple of personal interviews to me and to my parents. And in one of the interactions with Bhagwan, he taught a very significant lesson that I still remember. In Swami had called us for prasadam distribution, and then casually he was talking to us, and then he asked, "Do you know why I call and give you these opportunities to serve?" We gave different answers, and then Bhagwan said, that in Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna was eating a sugar cane, the sugar cane went into his finger and it started bleeding. At that point, the different people who were there, they went out in different directions to help Lord Krishna to stop that blood. But Draupadi tore her new sari and tied it around Krishna's finger and stopped the blood. And Bhagavan said that when she was being dishonored in the Kaurava court, Lord Krishna said Akshayam, and that very sari piece that she had given to Lord Krishna came in multifold and protected her honor. So Bhagavan said that when you do this small services, not only in front of Bhagavan, wherever you are, you do something for Bhagavan in thinking that you are offering it to him, and do any service anywhere in the world. When you are in trouble, I will remember that you have done that for me, and then say Akshayam, and I will help you at that moment. But if you don't do anything, how can I help you? So service is very important wherever we are. Whatever opportunity that we get, we should serve Bhagwan by offering whatever we do as an offering to him. Another significant lesson that I learned during this period was one day Bhagwan had called us to distribute mangoes. Summertime is mango time in Prashanti Nilayam. A lot of devotees send mangoes, and Bhagwan distributes it as prasadam. So we had an opportunity, and Chiranjeev sir, who was the secretary at that time, he was also there. And then he said, Swami, the crowd is too much, the mangoes are very less, we'll give something else. Then Swami said, no, we'll give mangoes only. Then he asked us to bring the bowls, and then touched all the bowls and said, we go and distribute. And Bhagwan himself was standing and ensuring that the last person in Sai Kulant hall got the mangoes. And then he asked me to go again toward the hall and inquire if everybody got the mangoes, and I did that. And when I came back again, Swami asked me to count the number of boxes of mangoes. So I had counted it before distribution, prasad distribution started, and exact same number was there after the prasad distribution was done. Then more than 10,000 people were there, and everybody had mangoes, but the still original quantity of mangoes were there. And Bhagwan looked at Chiranjeev sir and said, I told you there are enough mangoes. You only said there are no mangoes. Enough mangoes are not there. Only shows that when Bhagwan touches something, it becomes infinite. So if Bhagwan touches our lives are infinite and they are meaningful. So beautifully, with Bhagwan's grace and his love, the entire thing was progressing. One more incident I would like to narrate here, which shows Bhagwan's far-sightedness, or that he knows the future. Bhagwan had organized mass Upanayanam in Prashanti Nilayam for the students, and several students got opportunity to have Upanayanam done by Bhagwan. And one of the days, Bhagwan came and asked me, are you also getting Upanayanam done? Though I was not a Brahmin, but I thought this is an opportunity to become a Brahmin under Bhagwan's blessing. And then so I said, Swami, I would love to. Then he asked me whether your brother who's studying in Brindavan, will he also come? I said, Swami, both of us will get it done. Then Bhagawan called warden and asked him to include our names. And then in this pretext of this Upanayanam, I got several opportunities where Bhagawan was inquiring whether I inform my parents and all that. And my parents were very happy that Bhagawan is doing Upanayanam, though we don't have the tradition of Upanayanam in our family. But for some reason or other, the organizers were not were reluctant, saying that we were not Brahmins. And then Bhagavan kept insisting. And then finally, one fine day, he said, "It's okay, no need of doing Upanayanam." He said, and then left it. So I thought probably Swami just created that situation to just give me an opportunity to talk to him. And for the first time, I came to know about my background. Till then, I didn't know which lineage I belonged and which the different castes that I belong to. I came to know because I didn't know. Bhagavan said that you belong to this particular Padmanabha Velma. And when I went and checked with my parents, they said, yes, we belong to that. The Bhagavan knew about me more than myself. And then fast track to this age. Now I suddenly understand why Bhagavan said that he wanted me to have Upanayanam. Now I have this opportunity of taking care of Bhagavan's room in the hospital, where a lot of manifestations of Bhagavan happen. And then we have a beautiful Vaideshwara Lingam and also Bhagavan statue. And it's my responsibility that I have got this opportunity to do puja every day to the Lingam and also to Bhagavan. And this I came to know only very recently when in the entire incident I had forgotten. But when one of the senior doctors and one of the trustees, they had attended the puja, and subsequently they remarked that you are chanting as good as a Brahmin. That's when suddenly everything, I remembered that incident where Bhagavan said that I should have Upanayanam, and he conferred that opportunity to worship him without actually getting the Upanayanam done. So Bhagavan knows what we are to do in the future and then blesses us accordingly. But at that point, it looked as if it was a fruitless effort on part of Bhagavan to get Upanayanam done for me. Subsequently, once I finished my MSc, my only aim was to be with Bhagavan and serve him. So I didn't have any other ambitions. That year, Bhagavan didn't go to Kodaikanal. We had a lot of opportunities in Brindavan, and we came back. And when we came back, we were having sessions with Bhagavan every day, almost morning and evening 2 times. Swami used to call us into interview room and talk. And at one point, suddenly Baba said, why are you wasting your time? You go and do your PhD. And when I was taking Namaskar, Swami said, this is temporary. I'll give you something else. But I didn't understand at that point. I took Pad Namaskar, and because those days, PhD boys used to have a lot of opportunities with Swami. Whenever any VIP or anybody came, Swami used to call them to serve. So we thought probably some opportunity like that. And then we started our research literature survey. 18 days into the research, one day again, Bhagavan called. And then Bhagavan called S.V. Giri sir, the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar. And then he took S.V. Giri sir's permission that I want to send these 2 boys to America to do hospital administration. Will you permit? He asked him. Now, when we rewind the person who denied me the management seat was S.V. Giri sir in the physical sense. And he had a desire that I should do research. And as per his desire, say Bhagawan, he nominates somebody to a particular post. Though he is above, he is the chancellor and S.V. Giri sir was the vice chancellor, but he still gave the respect to wishes of vice chancellor sir and made us go through this PhD and made him only agree for us to go for management course. And S.V. Giri sir only had given the recommendation for our course. So then Bhagawan said, you ask your parents whether they will agree to this. And then my parents were very happy and they said that whatever Bhagawan says, you should do. And then he himself called them and spoke to them and took their permission. So Bhagavan, though he's the Lord of the universe, he takes care of this minutest things to make people happy and to that he has given us as children to our parents. And then though he is our owner, but the temporary owners, he has asked their permission to take us for this particular task that he wanted us to do. And then Bhagavan said that there are few small tests that you need to do. So you need to go to Bangalore for that. I'll tell you when to go. So that day, when we came out from the interview room, then we found out that we had to give a GRE and a TOEFL test. And having no thoughts of going abroad, I didn't even know the expansion that it is graduate record examination, test of English as foreign language. And then we were given thick books that we need to study. And then that evening, we were very afraid because those books were really voluminous and we had to study all that. But Bhagavan said, it's a small exam, don't worry. And then next day morning, he told us that we need to go to Brindavan. And at around 8 o'clock, Bhagavan called us into his dining hall and made us sit on his dining table and served food to us. He was sitting in the middle and we were sitting on either side of Bhagavan. And then there were probably 20-30 carriers that were there, which different devotees have sent to Bhagavan. And Bhagavan was asking the cook to pick up the carrier and whatever he said, take pulao rice from that box. And when he opened, there was pulao rice in that. And then he told fruit salad, take from this box. And there was fruit salad in the box. And he himself served us and then gave us some money and said, catch the 8 o'clock bus and go to Brindavan. So we immediately, after coming out from interview room, we ran to our rooms, took our luggages and boarded the bus. And we reached here. We were asked to meet Bhutia sir and they allotted us the Central Trust room in the Gokulam. And next day morning, we went to a coaching center called Time to enroll for the coaching. So when we went and joined, that the head of the coaching center, the center head, he interviewed us and asked us, so what is your plan? And we said, sir, you would need to write GRE and TOEFL in a week's time. We would like to join your coaching class. That man fell off his chair and he said, are you joking? Generally, students join us and take our coaching for 3 months and they practice whatever we have taught for next 3 months, and only then they can take this exam. And you want to take it in 5 days. Then he said, do you have a passport? And we said, no, we don't have. Then he said, to get a passport itself, you'll need at least 20 days. So there's no question of you going to US to do your studies now this year. So we were disappointed, and he said that I don't want to enroll you as our student, because each coaching center has this ranking based on number of students who pass out from their coaching center. And he said, I don't want to spoil our ranking. But since we are from a reputed institution, he allowed us to use the computer lab, because since it was a computerized exam, to take mock tests. So we just went in to see what is it all about. We were also given 2 set of books, Kaplan Review, Princeton Review, the voluminous books. And when we actually sat on the computer table, that's when I realized that the guy who designed the keyboard, he didn't know ABCD, because he had put ABCD at a different place than what we are taught. And being a bioscience student, I've never seen a computer before. It was those days where computers were just coming into educational field, and bioscience wasn't one of the leading uptake fields in computer of computers. This is the first time I was seeing the keyboard, and I had difficulty figuring out the alphabets on the keyboard, and I was mortally scared, because for GRE there were 5 options which I could figure out, A, B, C, D, E, but for the TOEFL exam we had to type a 1,000-worded essay, and that was a nightmare for me. So I said, okay, let's concentrate on GRE. Then we went, one of our elders who was given the responsibility to take care, he was in Bangalore. So we met him and said that, sir, we need a passport and we don't have one. Then he said, okay, let's apply. And we went to one of the travel agencies, and they said that you can apply for a Tatkal passport, and minimum will take us 20 days. We didn't have any choice, so we applied, and then we prayed to Bhagawan. By the time we applied, it was around 11 o'clock. At around 3 p.m., we got a call from the passport office to come and see the passport officer. So we had actually given a letter saying that we need the passport on urgent basis for writing our GRE. And so that man happened to see that letter, and then he thought to himself, he was actually getting transport, he was getting a transfer from Bangalore to Singapore and Singapore embassy. And just then Bhagawan had gifted to the state of Karnataka this magnificent hospital that I am sitting in. And though he was not a devotee of Bhagawan, he wanted to do something for this wonderful mission, and he decided to give us the passport before he left. That was his last day. So we applied at 11 o'clock, and at 3 p.m. we had the passports in our hand. It was a record time of less than 4 hours. The earlier year, a couple of boys had gone to US for coaching, and they got passport in 24 hours. And Bhagawan bettered that record by giving us passport in 4 hours. And I think that will still hold as a record in the entire passport issuing process till date. So with the passport, next day we visited the coach and showed him the passport. And that man was shocked. And with the help of the passport, we were looking for slots to give the GRE exam. And this was on Monday. So the only slot that was available was on Thursday for the entire month. So we booked that slot. So what takes 6 months for people to prepare, we had to do it in 3 days. We were thinking that we had a easy life doing research, being in Swami's Lotus Feet, and now Swami threw us into this GRE, and we were seeing those voluminous books. And fortunately for me, since I had done maths during my MBA preparation, that maths part I could skip. And so logical reasoning and English was a nightmare because it was as if they were testing us on dictionary. So they had very unusual words which we need to answer the meaning. So it was a nightmare days. For the next 3 days, we avoided eating food and then studied almost 18 to 19 hours a day. And then on that final day, we went to the exam hall. And as you all know, GRE, as we answer a question, the next one becomes tougher. And Bhagwan's grace, we went through. Generally, we students say that you see stars when you're writing exam. So that was actually literally coming true in that exam. But praying to Bhagwan, and since there were only A, B, C, D, E, I was able to select one of them. And then at the end, you get your results. And since Bhagwan answered that paper, I got very good marks, good enough for almost 2100 out of 2400. And that was immediately submitted. And then we went back to Bhagwan. Bhagwan was waiting for us, and he called us inside immediately as soon as we reached. And first thing Bhagwan asked is to get his personal weighing machine, and looked at me and said, this fellow, I told him to go and study, and this fellow has been eating all the time without studying. And he asked me what is my weight. So I had told Swami I am 72 kgs. Then Bhagwan brought his asked them to bring his weighing scale and put in front of him, and asked me to stand on it. My weight was 77 in the weighing scale. Bhagwan said, see, I told you, in 3 days, he has put 5 kgs. I thought I didn't eat food, but here I had put on 5 kgs, and those 5 kgs, I'm not able to even shed even till date. They've become like a hard-coded into my body. And then Bhagwan said, see, I told you it's going to be a very easy exam. You people only were scared. You did very well now. I was even more scared of the TOEFL exam. I was praying to Bhagwan in my heart. And then Swami looked at me and smiled. Then he asked, what next? And we said, Swami, TOEFL exam you have to write. Then next day morning, we got a call from the university saying that since we had English as our medium of instruction throughout, that they are waiving TOEFL for us. So when I told Bhagwan next day, he smiled, saying that I have answered your prayer. The beauty of it is, I knew nothing of typing, and then when it was required, he cancelled that exam. And when I started learning typing, Bhagwan ensured that within 7 days, I've got hang of typing. Now this was done, and then Bhagwan said, you apply for your visas, and we applied for the visa. Actually, the admissions were completed for the fall quarter, but because of the background that we were coming from, and they were very impressed with the work that our organization was doing, that they considered and admitted into the course. So visa we have applied, and then Bhagawan said one fine day that you pack all your bags, go to Chennai, get your visa, and then fly to US and stay in my house, Bhagawan said. So I took my first flight to Chennai, and that was paid for by Bhagawan. And in Chennai, we were staying with Ramani uncle's house that day. And it was almost close to evening. And then he got a call from his daughter, who was in the US, asking us to put on the television. Our visa slot was on 12th of September. And it was 11th September. And then when we switched on, we saw the terrorist attack on the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center collapsing, and also the Pentagon bombing of the Pentagon. And the next day, the embassy was closed. So our visa interviews got postponed to 13th instead of 12th. And so when we went in for the interview, it was almost like a fortress. The entire, there was high security in the US Embassy in Chennai. And then it took a long time for us, though we were in the front, it took a long time for us to actually go to the visa counter. And those days, they used to already have our applications because it was given through the travel agent. There was a person, a lady at the desk, and she called, and she had 2 applications. And then she said, so what is your plan? Then we said that we want to go to the US to do hospital administration, and we have an admission in Loma University. Then she asked, you have not attached your bank, your funding details. Then we said that we are being funded by one of the devotees in the US, and she asked, what is your relationship with him? And we said, no, he's a devotee of Baba. And she said, no, I can't allow this. You go and get a scholarship and come back, and I'm rejecting your visa. And she rejected, and she turned other side. And then she saw the person who prepared the application, he had made 2 copies of it, and so he had put a paste-it on the back which said second copy, and it said, whom are you trying to fool? And then rejected our visas. And those days, once a visa is rejected, we cannot apply for the next 6 months. And so we were completely dejected, and she was not in a mood to listen to anything. So we came out of the embassy, and Ramani uncle we informed, saying that we didn't get the visas. By then, Bhagawan had already spoken about us going to the US in a couple of discourses, and we were saying, how do we go to Parthi and show our face, is what our situation was at that point. Then Ramani uncle said, you don't worry, Swami will take care. And then he called up Chiranjeevi sir and informed. So when Chiranjeevi sir went to Swami, he told Swami they didn't get visas. Bhagawan looked into the air and he smiled and said, let them stay in my house, they'll get it at 3 p.m. And then the same thing was communicated to us. So we tried different avenues that were available. The hospital was inaugurated by Bhagawan just that year, and then S.M. Krishna sir, he was the chief minister, and he was one of the chief guests in that function. So our trust members approached his office to see if they can do something. And S.M. Krishna sir, he sent a fax saying that on behalf of state of Karnataka, kindly give them the visas. And seeing that facts, the marketing manager, he called us for an audience, and then he said, now, if you had so much of background, you should have come straight to me. Now that person has rejected, it cannot be given for the next 6 months. We will try our best, but we can't guarantee anything. And we tried through different avenues. US ambassador was approached, and he said that he's traveling abroad, and when he comes back, he'll look at it. And even the Tamil Nadu government we had approached, and the chief secretary said that his own son got rejected and he couldn't do anything about it. So we were almost certain that it may not happen. And then at that time, the embassy people had called the chief secretary to get an appointment to increase the security around the embassy. And the first thing he said in that phone call was, you give the visa to those 2 boys and come. He didn't say give visa to my son and come, but he said to those 2 boys. And exactly as Bhagawan said, at 3 p.m., we had the visas in our hand. Those days, the visas were never given in the hand. They were always couriered to the address which we have given. And for the first time, they broke their protocol and gave the visas in our hand. And when we informed Bhagawan, Bhagawan told us that you should immediately start. And we tried to book the tickets. Those days you didn't have this online booking. So we got a ticket from Singapore to LA, but Chennai to Singapore, there was no ticket available. So we contacted one of our devotees in Singapore to see if they can do something about it. And he said that he happened to be the personal physician of Singapore Airlines chairman. So he spoke to him, and the chairman's office faxed a ticket to us, and we went with the fax ticket. You didn't have the facility of e-ticket those days. And when the counter saw that fax, they immediately upgraded us to business class. So I always say that when you travel with Bhagawan, it's like a business class travel. Though we purchased an economy class, we got a business class upgrade. And we always heard that when you shift time zones, you had this jet lag. But this was the first time I was ever going anywhere out of the country, 24-hour flight. And then when we landed in Singapore, there was a 8-hour gap, and then we went around the full Singapore being a small country, we could see the entire Singapore in that small time period. And then we reached LA, and it was as if we just slept and got up, and it was as fresh. It was early morning, and we were as fresh without an inch of iota of jet lag. What has happened was, because of all this delay, the classes had started on 18th September, and we left from India on 18th September. So we missed the first day. So the person who received us took us immediately that very same day to get us admitted in the school, Loma University. And we joined this school, and then there was no time for acclimatization. It was just we were directly thrown into the fire, and we started classes right away. And then one of the things that Bhagawan had said to convince us to go to US, that initially we were saying that, Swami, we can't stay without you, because it was a master's course and we know it's for 2 years. So we said, Swami, we want to be with you he was very reluctant. Then Bhagawan said, no, you will come back in 3 months. And the next interview, it became 6 months. And next interview, it became 1 year. And Bhagawan said, you'll definitely come back in 1 year. So but we knew it was a 2 years course. So we thought maybe just to send us, Bhagawan is saying this. So when we reached US, we approached our academic dean asking, is there any possibility of us completing in a year? And they said, no, it's out of question. Even if you take the maximum allowed credits, you still have several credits left, which you can't finish in a year, is what he said. So we just resigned to the fact that we'll have to stay more than a year. And then we were just praying to Bhagawan. We used to have bhajans every day. So at that point, we just spoke about it and we prayed to Bhagawan. And next day morning, we had a call from our dean. And the dean said that the university has a policy of transfer of credits. So if you have done any portion of the syllabus earlier as a master's level, we could consider transfer of credits. And when we went through those some 3 or 4 papers we had already done as part of our MSc, and they allowed us to transfer those credits. And even then we couldn't complete because we joined late. We were supposed to take a prerequisite course in the summer quarter. Since we joined in the fall quarters, that accountancy 101 that we missed, we had to do, it's offered only in summer next year. And so we had to wait for that. So we just thought it is Bhagwan's wish. And then we were going about our studies. And then almost 1 quarter got over. Generally, people do accountancy and then do financial management. But we did financial management before, and then we came to accountancy. So in the beauty of it is when Bhagwan wills, anything is possible. As I told you earlier, I never knew typing, but since everything we had to upload onto the Blackboard, the e-learning platform there, everything had to be typed. And within a week's time, I picked up entire typing, and I was able to, and even computers, though I never formally learned about computers. The first time I was using a computer, it was as if I knew everything. Like somebody put on a switch in my brain, and then I was able to actually rip apart a computer and assemble it without any, you didn't have YouTube those days where you see something and learn. It was P2, a Pentium 2 era, and it just came to me by Bhagwan's grace. And then we did very well in the financial management and other subjects, though we didn't have any background. And then one day I was just talking to the other student who was with me, saying that how can Bhagwan's word not come true? Bhagawan said we'll go back in 1 year, but why is it not happening is what I was telling. And then just then the bell rang. And like we have a lot of junk mail in our inbox nowadays. Those days we used to have a lot of flyers that the postman used to come and dump in the post box. So I went out and I saw that it was a postman and there was a lot of junk mail in the post box. So we take it and put it in the dustbin. So I was about to do that, one paper fell down. So when I looked at that, it was an advertisement for accountancy 101 being offered in a neighboring university. So I took that to my colleague and said, see, something interesting is here. And then we met the dean, and dean said that no, the course has already started, but if they accept you, then I will arrange for transfer of credits. The next day we visited that San Bernardino University and then spoke to the dean. And she said, no, the course is already started. but we explained about the wonderful work that the hospitals are doing. She was mighty impressed with that. And then she allowed us, she said, if the teacher accepts, then I don't have an issue. The teacher also was very impressed with our background and then allowed us to join. Till then, while I was doing my MSc, the MBA students used to always dread accountancy because those who have come from science background, it's a foreign language altogether. Now, here we were almost 19 days late into the class, into the accountancy class, and it was as if we knew it. We were sort of topping the class, and other students were asking us doubts in accountancy. And Bhagawan arranged it so beautifully that we finish a class in Loma University, take a taxi and come to this university. It was almost 1 hour. Complete the class, and then we were in perfect time for the next class there. It was perfectly orchestrated by Bhagawan. We completed that course and then the entire thing. And considering our background that we may not come back next year, the dean of the university, Loma University, allowed us to do the graduation walk, and Bhagawan himself sent us the graduation dress, blessed and sent it, and then we did the graduation. And after the graduation, we did our internship. And when we landed back in India, we had left on 18th, and we landed back in India on 16th September. And as soon as we went to Bhagawan, Bhagawan was waiting in the veranda for us, and we fell at his feet. Bhagawan asked, "What date is it?" So I said, "Swami, 16th." He said, "You came 2 days earlier than 1 year." So whatever Bhagawan says, it has to come true. There's, as we say, Bhagawan's words or his sankalpa is Vajra Sankalpa, means there is no other option, but it has to come true. And we completed the entire thing in 1 year and then came back. So one of the things that in the interactions that I had with Bhagawan, one thing I told Bhagawan, I am very scared because this is a new field. I'm a bioscience student. You're putting me in management. Please give me strength. And when Bhagawan said, when I give you a job, you don't need to ask. All that will come automatically. He said, Hanuman didn't know that he could jump across the ocean, but he just thought that it's Rama's work and then leapt and he could cross the ocean. So if I give you a job, the skill to do the job also will be given automatically, is what Bhagawan said. It's been a wonderful journey serving Bhagawan, and if an opportunity comes again, I'll probably share those experiences with you. I'm extremely grateful to Bhagawan for giving this opportunity to share my experiences with all of you. I'd like to finish with a song which actually when people were in the Patha Mandir, they were very close to Bhagawan. And then when Bhagawan shifted to the Prashanti Nilayam, then they were very dejected and they said, Swami, you will go far away from us. And then Bhagawan taught them this song, saying that whenever you think that I have gone far away, if you sing this song, you will know that I am near you. So let me just sing it. Marachiti vemo madhilo mammu Sainata Prabhuva. O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Marchitivimu madhilo mammu Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Margu cheritimi mamudari chechumu, Margu cheritimi mamudari chechumu, Manitavarya Prabhuva, Kanava Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Marchitivimu madhilo mammu Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Vyadhulatodal Badhalanandan, Vyadhulatodal Badhalanandan, Vyatalanu Bhadute Vidiyamaku, Vyatalanu Bhadute Vidiyamaku, Idara Papam Bhunu Bharimpa, Idara Papam Bhunu Bharimpa. Velasiti Vata Deva Kanava Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Marchitivimu madhilo mammu Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. Apadbandhavudan chuvintil, Adharil chamali vedu kuntil. Apadbandhavudan chuvintil, Adharil chamali vedu kuntil. Maapai ni kripa chupu matantil, Maapai ni kripa chupu matantil. Mamu vidanadaga chusedava, Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva, O Sainata Prabhuva. It's a very beautiful song which says that, O Lord, have you forgotten us? And there's a very beautiful incident where one of the passing out batches from the school, when they sang this in front of Bhagawan, Bhagawan immediately said that, showed like this, that he has not forgotten. So, to this beautiful Lord who has given so much of love, I offer my gratitude for giving this opportunity to share his love and his message. Anybody, there's several people who have gone to the US and studied and come back, and they would have probably gone in a normal way, applied for visa, passport, and gone. But by giving us these difficulties and also showing us his power, he has prepared us for the future work in his institution, that whenever we have a challenge, if we just think of him, he'll help us overcome it. And that's what I have experienced in all these years working for Bhagawan. I pray to Bhagawan to bless all of us, and I take leave of you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother, absolutely, absolutely straight from the heart. And I've heard some of this before, and I wanted to actually go through it again today. And all I can say is, when we are available, he will make us the instrument. He will do the work for us, and all we have to be is just be there at his calling. When that happens and seize the moment, lots of lessons to learn for us through these experiences that you've shared. And I'm looking forward to having you again to share that journey in that beautiful temple of healing, as the hospital should be called. It's not a hospital. It's a transformation center, where incidentally somebody is ill, but then the whole process of what they undergo is not healing, but transformation. For the person serving there, for the person receiving the treatment in that process. I'm so looking forward to having you again to speak on that. There should be lots for us to learn. And we all hope someday, for those of you who have not been there, it is a temple indeed to visit, just the entry point and the magnificence that is there. And we can already see all the vibhuti at the background of your picture. I wish all of us can teleport ourselves to come and go into that wonderful altar, the mandir in the hospital. We see a lot of those photographs time and again on social media or people sharing. You are there every day, and being with you gives us that feeling of what it should be for being always in his service. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us today, brother, and looking forward to having you talk to us on the journey serving in the Temple of Healing on another occasion when Swami wills. So thank you, and we shall finish off with Samasta Lokas. And as always, the series continues every Sunday. Swami wills, brings the speakers, gives us the inspiration and the reassurance. When he wills it, it shall happen. Just be there, go through the motions, and the destination will be automatically reached. All we have to be is be with him and believe that he is with us in every moment of our lives. With that, thank you so much, brother. Samasta Lokas to finish off. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai. Sai Ram, everyone. Stay safe. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you next week with yet another gem amidst us. Sai Ram.